of education. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. The world requires a change.
And so, in the microcosm of the city of Lucknow, Dr. Jagdish Gandhi started City Montessori School in 1959, a non-profit organization that was set up as a laboratory to create world-minded and socially conscious citizens who would work for the welfare of humanity and its unity. Plato had said, "It is the idea that moves the world." Goethe says, "Life is action." The story of Dr. Jagdish Gandhi's life is refreshingly vibrant that encourages one to take charge, regenerate and renew. The concept of karma was introduced to him by his uncle Sri Prabhu Dayalji, who inculcated in him hope and to dream of a world where there will be Satyug, the divine civilization. His father took him to village temple where religious discourses and discussions took place, and his pious mother ingrained in him the value of complete connect with God at all times. Greatly influenced by Mahatma Gandhi, young Jagdish found not only the peaceful narrative of serving society, but also the burning fervor of resolution in the great man. He could fathom the power of the slogan of Jai Jagat or Hail the World, coined by the Mahatma and Acharya Vinoba Bhave to reform and restructure global society. He laid the foundation of a school where value of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, or Earth is but one country and mankind its citizens, is being nurtured through unique CMS broader, bolder education model for the 21st century, an education capable of saving humanity that draws heavily from the teachings of Baha'u'llah that says, among the greatest of all the great services that can possibly be rendered by a man to Almighty God is the meaningful spiritual education of children, building their character and inculcating in their tender hearts the love of God. He always felt that education is not filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire. The school has educated students to respect the values of tolerance and has been actively working to construct the defenses of peace in the minds of students, parents, and public. In recognition of this remarkable achievement, the school was awarded the 2002 UNESCO Prize for Peace Education. The school that began with 5 children and a borrowed capital of $10 in 1959 today has over 56,000 students, a Guinness World Record for being the largest school by pupils. He still works, sleeps, eats and entertains visitors in 12 by 14 square feet room where he first began his mission. All his personal belongings can fit into a suitcase. Dr. Gandhi, who has maximized expenses on his vision and minimized his personal needs by religion, he is Baha'i. By way of personal wealth, he has none. His fervent admirer and follower, his wife, Dr. Bharati Gandhi, he is supported in his vision by his principals from 18 CMS campuses, 2,000 teachers and 1,000 other workers of CMS. The Derozio Award winner in the 20th century, the recognition of outstanding service to education and human enrichment, Dr. Gandhi argues, as universe is governed by laws of nature, humanity should also be governed by one law, and thus pioneered the idea of World Judiciary Summit. He constituted the World Unity Education Department to organize the international conferences of Chief Justices of the world since the turn of the century, with the recently concluded 19th International Conference of Chief Justices of the World on Article 51 of the Constitution of India. Staunch believer of Mahatma Gandhi's path of non-violence, Dr. Jagdish Gandhi's life has been governed by the saying of, "Let us not curse the darkness. Instead, light a candle." Member of the World Peace Prayer Society and a firm believer in the Japanese Kaizen theory of continuous improvement, Dr. Gandhi introduced the concept of quality control circles in education and is the founder chairman of the World Council for Total Quality and Excellence in Education. For bringing in this visionary concept in education, he was honored with the key to the city of Georgetown, USA. This crusader for unity and peace, Dr. Jagdish Gandhi, has a class of his own, working on a thesis. True education releases capacities, develops analytical abilities, confidence in oneself, willpower, goal-setting competency, and instills the vision that will enable oneself to become a self-motivated agent of social transformation, serving for the best interest of the community. For nearly 6 decades now, in a real laboratory of a school called CMS and its community focusing on real-time subjects in globalism, universal brotherhood, and world unity and peace, Dr. Gandhi has earned 5 honorary doctorate degrees, namely Honorary Doctorate Degree in Education in 2009 by Bashkir State Pedagogical University, Ufa, Russia, Honorary Doctorate Degree in Law bestowed by the University of Concepción del Uruguay, Republic of Argentina in 2012. In the same year, another honorary doctorate degree in law given by the University of Mendoza, Republic of Argentina. Honorary doctorate degree by Inca Garcilaso University in Peru in 2014. An honorary doctorate degree by the National University of Mongolia in 2015. Lifetime Achievement Award by the Education World magazine in 2017. The prestigious Gusi Peace Prize in Manila, Philippines in 2011. The award, also known as the Asian Nobel Prize, is given to achievers of the world. And Soaring Above the Rest Award by the Council for the Indian School Certificate Examination, New Delhi, for his invaluable contribution to peace through education in 2014. Who could have imagined that a frail, bashful boy born in one of thousands of remote, poverty-stricken, backward villages of the state of pre-independent Uttar Pradesh in these past 60 years would have been able to create a wonderful experiment of immense value to educators worldwide, a story which has received global recognition, a story worth understanding by policymakers and schools worldwide.
May CMS fragrance fill the sky, and its name endure forever and I. May its founders' ideals inspire, to strive, to seek, to ever aspire. May we uphold the good and fair in all that we do and dare. At home, at school, at play, in actions of the day. Our school is a temple of learning, where knowledge and wisdom rules, where we become the changes we dream of. Our most beloved school. Our lessons are of peace and love. Our anchor is of spiritual spirituality. Our greetings for all is Jai Jagat. Our vision is of world unity, unique in the annals of education. Our founder is a one of a kind. We are the light of the world, and CMS, the hope of mankind. May CMS fragrance fill the sky, and its name endure forever and ever. May its founders' ideals inspire, to strive, to seek, to ever aspire. May we uphold the good and fair in all that we do and dare. At home, at school, at play, in actions of the day. At home, at school, at play, in actions of the day.
Honorable Dr. Justice Augusto Lopez Claros, Senior Fellow, School of Foreign Service at Georgetown, USA, illustrated upon the powers and limitations of United Nations since its inception, provided solutions to enhance the functioning of the United Nations.
It is really upon us. It is in the next decade or two. And therefore, if we don't act now, if we don't rethink our world order in a fundamental way and get our act together, we may have to do so after a global crisis. We may have to do so after a world war, after the collapse of the financial system and the global economy, after a pandemic that wipes out a significant portion of the human population, after accelerated climate change, which then leads to famine and to mass migrations. And surely you will agree with me that this is not the future that we want for our children. This is not what we want the inheritance of this generation to be, for our children and our grandchildren. So if I have spoken with some emotion, but hopefully also with some reason, it is because I feel very strongly that we are entering this critical period where we need to begin to take concerted actions. Let's do this in a spirit of consultation and not under the force of adverse circumstances as a result of crisis which will come upon us. That will be very costly and will lead to a great deal of human suffering, and our children deserve better than that. And I think that the responsibility that we have for the next generation is particularly visible today with so many young people with us. Thank you very much.
Honorable Mr. Justice Hanan Melzer, Deputy President, Supreme Court of Israel, spoke on freedom, justice, equity and peace as conveyed through the greeting of Shalom used in Israel.
Children's right to education, proper treatment, medical care and economic support are a focus of our legal system in Israel. As with peace or shalom, this value of protecting our children dates far back in Jewish tradition. We see an example of this in the Talmud, a Jewish legal code published around the year 500 CE. In this code, it's written like that: the Jewish courts should be the guardians of children and of orphans. This means that the Jewish courts and the Israeli courts nowadays have a responsibility to ensure that orphans and children are cared of and that basic needs for education, food, and shelter are met. Caring for our children is a core value for any society, and ultimately we want peace in the world for the sake of children. This is our duty as judges, jurists, and citizens of our countries and as citizens of the world.
Honorable Mrs. Santibai Hanumanji, Speaker of the Parliament, Republic of Mauritius, said peace is not acquired but an ongoing process.
On the Global Peace Index, Mauritius is now ranked as the 20th most peaceful country worldwide, as compared to 22nd in 2017. Mauritius is also one of the top 5 countries of the world which are free from ongoing world war and conflict.
Honorable Mr. Justice Anthony Thomas Carmona, 5th President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago from 2013 till 2018, spoke on pronounced shift towards power leadership vis-a-vis service leadership.
Yes, in India, the world's largest democracy and a global power with a judicial system that has produced a significant corpus of Casibus Jure Classicus, enriching the jurisprudence of the modern common law. This achievement was possible due to India's ability and capacity to produce many eminent jurists, including Mr. Justice Rajan Gogogi, who only a few weeks ago was appointed the Chief Justice of this great country. The international community has recognized the high quality of Indian judges with the election of Indian jurists to the bench of international courts and tribunals.
Professor Geeta Gandhi Kingdon, President, City Montessori School, Lucknow, proposed the vote of thanks.
Thank you so much. All the absolutely, we are delighted. On behalf of the students, I'd like to thank you very much this morning.
First plenary session in the main auditorium was graced by the Chief Guest, His Excellency Dr. Pakalitha B. Mosisili, MP, Prime Minister of Lesotho from 1998 till 2012, thereafter 2015 till 2017. Special guests include Honorable Mr. Mohammad Ojar, Minister of Justice, Government of Morocco. Students of CMS Kanpur Road campus presented the hymn, I Want to Praise You, Lord. Basic principles of law and justice must be taught compulsorily from the early childhood all over the world, and every child must be made self-disciplined, law-abiding, just in his or her formative age, to establish united divine civilization on earth. Here is a presentation of appeal by students of CMS on behalf of world's over 2.5 billion children and generations yet to be born.
This appeal reflects our feelings, aspirations, and dreams. We appeal before you on behalf of world's 2 billion children and generations yet to be born.
Mrs. Shipra Upadhyay, Principal, CMS Rajajipuram Campus 2, compared this session with speakers include Honorable Daniel Gelase Dabirab, Chairman, Permanent Commission in charge of Political, Administrative and East African Affairs, National Assembly of Burundi, Honorable Justice Dr. Petronilo Flores Conduri, President, Plurinational Constitutional Court, Bolivia, Special guest, Honorable Mr. Mohammad Ojar, Minister of Justice, Government of Morocco, Honorable Mr. Justice João Antonio da Assunção Baptista Berao, Deputy Chief Justice, Supreme Court, Mozambique, Honorable Mr. Justice Muhammad Chand Othman, former Chief Justice, Tanzania, and the Chief Guest, His Excellency Dr. Pakalitha B. Mosisili.
Des actions positives et concrète en faveur de sa jeune génération en général et des enfants en particulier.
Humano de los diferentes estados del mundo.
To face those problems, as we, the authorities of the judicial system, first of all, as human beings cannot look at those problems with crossed hands.
The project of digitalization of the judicial administration is today at the heart of our concerns. The modernization of the methods of judicial administration requires the treatment of structural, organizational, and IT aspect of this administration.
It is clear that if we wanted to secure all the children in the globe a sustainable future, it is important to invest in the inclusive education.
There is a child as young as 8, 9, 10, or up to 17 years of age in Latin America, Asia, Africa, and the Middle East, who is at the brink of losing his or her childhood to war, who is starting on the path of believing that violence is an acceptable part of life. I have yet to meet a parent who would like such a child for such a life for their child. So why should the world turn a blind eye on such a paramount problem, one that will undoubtedly destroy the moral and ethic foundation of a majority of the next generation? I think this situation calls for the judicial branch to be more engaged and to call for accountability. Otherwise, I think it will be very difficult when then children become adult for all of us to be exonerated. So I want to thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, sir.
Are uniquely and strategically placed to influence major shifts in policy to achieve significant measures in child protection and welfare.
Aim of education and religion is to unite the world, and in the parallel session of the conference room number 1 on the theme Education for Promoting World Unity and Peace, the session was chaired by Professor Ho Cheng Hong, President, National Tsinghua University, Taiwan, coordinated by Mrs. Aruna Naidu, Principal, CMS RDSO Campus. Speakers include Honorable Mr. Justice Nabil Sari, former Judge, Court of Cassation, Lebanon. Honorable Ms. Justice Jidonu Akpen, President of Administrative Chamber, Supreme Court, Togo. Honorable Ms. Justice Janoska, Judge, Grand Chamber, Supreme Court, Ukraine. Ms. Barbara Wolf, Founder, Global Meditation Network, USA. Honorable Mr. Justice Ghanshyam Prasad, former Judge, Patna High Court, India. Honorable Mr. Justice Deonarayan Thanvi, former Judge, Rajasthan High Court, India. Honorable Mr. Justice P.S. Gopinathan, former Judge, Kerala High Court, India. Aim of entire law and justice is to unite the world. In the conference room number 2, the session was conducted on the theme Establishing Rule of Law, chaired by Honorable Mr. Justice Camilo Javier Cabrera, Judge, Court of Childhood and Adolescence, Judicial Branch, Paraguay, coordinated by Mrs. Nisha Pandey, Senior Principal, CMS Rajajipuram Campus 1. Speakers include Honorable Ms. Justice Maria Teresa Delgado, Judge, National Court of Justice, Ecuador. Honorable Ms. Justice Miriam Nora Escuer, Judge, Chamber of Appeals, La Pampa, Argentina. Honorable Mr. Justice Justo Cristino Ramos, Judge, Court of First Instance, Paraguay. Honorable Ms. Justice Mirgal Bebukiva, Judge, Secretary, Constitutional Chamber, Supreme Court of Kyrgyz Republic. It is time now for the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The parallel session 3 on the theme Human Rights was chaired by Honorable Mr. Justice Khaled Ayari, former First President, Court of Cassation and member of the Tunisian Press Council, Tunisia, coordinated by Mrs. Rita Soti, Principal, CMS Anandnagar Campus. Speakers include Honorable Ms. Justice Brigida Celia Vargas, Judge, Tribunal Constitutional Plurinational Court, Bolivia. Honorable Ms. Justice Susana Maria Paulo Firpo, Judge, Entre Rios Province, Argentina. Honorable Mr. Justice Felix Gustavo Federal District Judge, Family Court, Argentina; Honorable Mr. Justice Alejandro Martin Avalos, Judge, Administrative Court, Paraguay; Honorable Mr. Justice Marvin Sitwala, Deputy Chief Justice, Supreme Court, Zambia. Cross-cultural gatherings provide opportunity for exchanges of ideas. So, the parallel session in room number 4 on the theme Global Governance Structure was chaired by Honorable Justice Dr. Jose Antonio, President, Supreme Court, Guatemala, coordinated by Mrs. Shivani Singh, Principal, CMS Aliganj, Campus 2. Speakers include Honorable Mr. Justice A.M. Ahmadi, former Chief Justice, Supreme Court of India; Honorable Mr. Justice Ranulfo Rafael, Judge, Supreme Court of Justice, Guatemala; Honorable Mr. Justice Ruthal Hongsiri, Judge, Supreme Administrative Court, Thailand; Honorable Ms. Justice Maria Eliza Arias, Federal District Judge, Family Court, Argentina; Honorable Justice R.S. Garg, former Chief Justice, Guwahati High Court, India; Honorable Mr. Justice V.D. Gyani, former Acting Chief Justice, Guwahati High Court, India. Needless to say, we have job to do tackling global issues. And so, parallel session number 5 on the theme Tackling Global Issues was chaired by Honorable Mr. Justice Moses Cuthbert, Chief Justice, the Superior Court of Judicature, Swaziland, coordinated by Mrs. Indrani Chandra of CMS Gomtinagar 2nd Campus. Speakers include Honorable Ms. Justice Mirzada Zindo, Judge, Court of Bosnia and Herzegovina; Honorable Mr. Justice Bimbat Seren Yondon, Chief Justice, Balgan Aimag, Court of Criminal and Civil Appeals, Mongolia; Honorable Mr. Justice Rigobert Azon, Judge, High Court of Justice, Benin; Honorable Mr. Justice Deepak Kantilal Trivedi, former Judge, Gujarat High Court, India. At CMS, every effort is made to create a climate of encouragement for students to ask questions. Thus, 2 sessions of CMS students were created in the main auditorium. Subject 1, Jurisdiction and Limitations of International Court of Justice and International Criminal Court, Suggestions for Reform. Speaker, Honorable Mr. Justice Antoine Kesia Mebe Mindua, Judge, International Criminal Court, Netherlands.
The behavior of all people and states shall be governed by one law, that is international law. In order to adjudicate legal disputes between states, the United Nations, the UN, created in 1945 the International Court of Justice, ICJ. On the other hand, the International Criminal Court, ICC, was set up in 1998 by the UN Conference of Plenipotentiaries to judge individuals.
शिक्षात्मक सांस्कृतिक कार्यक्रम एवं चिंतन हेतु विश्व एकता सत्संग में आप सभी सपरिवार सादर आमंत्रित हैं।